Most of what you see people doing with AI online doesn't actually make them any money, and it doesn't save them any time on things that do make them money. It just kind of looks cool. So today, Bart and I are going to show you how we use AI to actually make us money in our e-commerce brands. So Bart runs Dad Gang. He owns that brand, and I am the head of growth and AI at a brand called Solus Bands. So we are going to show you how we use AI to save us hours on emails and product pages and homepage banners, how I built a creator outreach tool. This is all stuff we've done this week. This is all stuff that is very doable. You could do it yourself. We walk you through how you could do it yourself. And most importantly, this all directly drives revenue. I'm John Coyle. This is The Checkout. Let's get into it. What my main beef is with a lot of what I see people doing with AI is that like they'll be like, oh, I got my AI to do this. And I'm like, does that help? Like, that's not economically valuable to you. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't think that matters at all. So I want to go into ways that's like, let's give some people some actual stuff that like, yeah, this will help you drive more revenue in your e-commerce business. I've got a few, you've got a few. Do you want to jump in and show one of yours?
Yeah. So, and just for background, like I was dabbling with a lot of AI tools. When did we go to New York?
Oh yeah. That was like, when were we shooting there? March, I want to say.
Yeah. So I was like dabbling with AI tools. I had already like poked around with Manus, but then we had a podcast with Sharma, and after the podcast, we just got to like, we probably should have filmed that too, but we got to like nerding out on all these capabilities, and he showed me like a blog he's built, and one that just auto feeds to his page. And so that night I spun up my own blog, and it was like 20 minutes of work, and I texted friends with businesses, and I was like, hey, your website sucks. Can I make you a new one? Watch this. Like I was almost in a sense like showing off, and people are blown away. I'm taking like a 30-year-old business that their grandpa built and building them an up to speed website. And I just got kind of like hooked on the capabilities, and then kind of reeled it in, coming back to like, okay, sure, you can build friends' websites all day, but that's not actually like going to progress anything on your end. And so what can you do for Dad Gang? What can you do for anything you're doing in marketing to like speed things up? And so my flow is always like, you know, as some people may know from the podcast, like Dad Gang is super lean. It's myself doing all the marketing, Grant doing all the sales and customer service and retail, which has become like a big responsibility. It's a lot of work there. And then EJ is all operational. And so I'm like, well, what can I do on my end to like either speed things up or make things better? I think that was like my two things that I asked myself. And every time we launch a hat, or every time I want to like talk about something, obviously I'm building messaging around it. And email was probably the one that I was like, even though Canva is very fast and I'm still using it all the time, it was like, okay, I'm still building the email, you know, square by square or whatever, like banner by banner, and then plopping it into Attentive. And that's fine. It's not very slow, but like I'm not a designer by trade, by skill. Like I can design things, but I've never considered myself like a true Photoshop, Illustrator type of designer. And so I would go into Manus, which I can just share here.
Yep. Hit the little plus screen thing at the bottom. Do you see that?
Yeah, I see it. So is that showing now, I'm assuming? Yeah.
Gotcha. Boom.
So this is obviously just the homepage of Manus, and you can build out whatever you'd like pretty much. And I'm discovering more and more, like they just plopped in a video editor a week ago, and you can make reels as long as you have footage. And if you don't have footage, I'm sure they use like Sora or Veo to source that. But so I'll give you one yesterday, for instance. This is our, as we're talking, I just launched an email for Dad Gang around our 4-year anniversary hat. So we've been around for 4 years, launching a new hat, and I need an email that is on brand, that is speaking to all these things that I needed to speak to for the launch. And I'm simply like, these messages are very direct. They're not complicated prompts. That's what I love about Manus. It's like, I need you to design an email like you always do with Dad Gang, branding, and it is for our 4-year anniversary hat, which is live now. I just tell it it's live now as like a way for it to pull links and code for where it lives on the site. And then, it goes through all the things. I feed it images. So use these images for the email. These are all like good product shots we got of it. And, as you see, it responds with got it. I'll use those images. And then we have a patch that we put on the side of the hat. You can see it here. I just wanted to include that in the email design as it's like the most standout part of the hat anyways. And then it just gets to work, does all these things, project initialized. So it's obviously starting on it and it's talking to itself throughout it, which is like, I don't really need to interrupt it at all. And as you can see, I don't say too many things on my end until some of the final stuff starts coming through on this screen on the right as it's designing. And then I just said, make sure to add that it's limited edition and won't be coming back this year. These are not genius prompts. It's a guy asking for something. Like that's what I'm building. And so, okay, I'll add it, go through. And then this image right here, we added like a very subtle white on white 4 years in the game on the back left panel of the hat. So I just added like, hey, make sure this image is talked about special because it's the first time we've put anything on a hat back there. And it's kind of a hidden message. You really got to see it. It doesn't pop out. Manus loves the details.
Manus, it's like, love that.
Oh, Manus is the best yes man you could find in your friend group. Oh, you're so right. This is going to do so great. Like
if you ever become a rapper, what you really want up there are just LLMs hyping you up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, and then sometimes it'll like by default, because I've asked it for it and we've worked a lot on this. It puts a ticker in the email, like a GIF of messaging. And I just didn't want that on this email because it was a little too busy. So I said, don't put that in there this time. I'll remove it. And it just keeps working. It's developing. I've asked it to, keep slices under 200 KB just because it's like, it's too big of an image and load speeds and all that stuff. So I wanted to keep it under a certain size, and it tells me like all the things it's made.
Well, can I cut in really quick?
Yeah.
Because I just want to like you talking about what it's doing has probably taken longer than it actually took to do all this. Number one, like Manus can one-shot stuff pretty quickly. And number two, the other beautiful thing about this is that like you weren't, I don't know if you were, but you didn't have to be sitting there watching it work. Like,
no, I did other stuff while it was working in the background.
Exactly. So I've always said about multitasking that it's like, yeah, multitasking isn't real. It's just switching between things. Okay, it is real now because you handed off an email that Bart needed to design and send. You handed that off to Manus, and then you were able to do, go respond to some messages or go, do something else in the meantime. So this is what it came up with. Is this what it came up with?
So this is like first edition of what it came up with.
Can you give me a zoom?
Nice, clean email. It still put the ticker in there. So like that is a mistake. It just ended up being like, whatever, I'm not listening to you on that one. I'm still putting it in.
Yep.
And it made a beautiful email that I am cool with, besides a few copy tweaks. So I said, some of the copy says there's 4 stars on the patch, which there's 3, like, just remove that. There was some language around real ones, and I just didn't want that in there. It didn't really sound like our brand. So I said, take that stuff out, change the 3-star copy. And then it did it. So, and then it also had a message around like over 400,000 hats sold, which we're way past that. Yeah. And at the end, like we'll just hop to the end because it's, so at the, here, I think you'll be able to, oh, maybe you can't. But at the end, it delivers all of these little sections. Mm-hmm. And then that's the code for it, which I don't even use because I'll take those little slices and then I'll put them into Attentive, like any email builder, Klaviyo, Attentive, whatever you're using. You just take those slices and put them into the email, and then do your URLs and alternative text So I guess the only step further would be like connect this into Attentive and now go build that for me, which I'm sure is not, it's probably doable at this point. I just haven't like taken that extra step. But yeah, and then you have this nice, beautiful email that you've built and you're set. I don't know what the total length on this was. Like, I would say a total of maybe like 22 minutes of me working, going back to seeing what it's done.
Right. In that 22 minutes, you're doing other stuff.
Right? Yeah,
right?
exactly. I'm like probably getting started on another task around it, which was...
I would guess your input time was 2 minutes. Like,
yeah, I mean, you saw the prompts. They're like, so they were short.
In terms of, 20 minutes of real time, 25 minutes of real time, let's say, but 2 minutes of your focused attention, which is kind of right. Is that like you have so Manus and Claude Co-work or Claude Code are kind of unlocking a little bit more of like, you can truly multitask. Your focused attention doesn't need to be. Now, the other problem that arises with multitasking is context switching. You can't remember what was going on over here, but like still, you can actually get more done with these. And I think that you and I are both in the same boat. Everybody seems to be Claude pilled, but you and I are both kind of Manus. You're the biggest Manus proponent, dude. Like, I don't know.
Send me a t-shirt.
Paying you, or like if you're sponsored by Manus, but I agree. It does tend to one-shot things a little bit better. It executes most tasks that I ask it to do better than Claude. I do have some use cases. I have some Claude ones, some use cases for Claude that I think are a little bit better. But I mean, that's the unlock here, is that basically in 2 minutes of Bart's focus time, you had this. And then do you just have this connected to your Attentive so it can just go straight in there? Or how are you moving this over to Attentive?
I just download the zip file of slices and plop them in there.
Gotcha.
I haven't gotten to the point where I do the like deeper connection of having it do a lot more stuff for me. But that's okay, because I'll maybe get to that point. But at the same time, I've done enough to, like you just said, 2 minutes of me time, 25 minutes of total time. Like, I don't care if I have to plop in some slices of images. Like, it's still a very little amount of work.
Look, you could make it even faster by doing an MC, like a connection between Manus and Attentive if it's available, or you can do a custom one. But like, you know, like again, you've already saved so much time that like you might not even be worth the time to set that up. I like this. And
even the design work of layouts, fonts, CTAs, the way it appears, like it handles all of that. And if it's ever like out of frame or anything like that, it would take me so long in a design tool like Canva to arrange stuff myself and like do all of that. Whereas like I can just give it the like bare minimum images that I want in the email, and it'll do the layout portion for me.
Right. You're tired of drowning in where is my order tickets and you want to free up your support team? You need Redo. Everywhere is my order ticket, or Wizmo ticket, as we call it in the industry, takes more time for your customer service team. You have to increase your tool costs. And also, when people are asking that, they're usually not the most happy. And the fix here is not hiring more people as you scale. This is the most common kind of ticket in your business, and you need a better way to take care of it. So the fix is proactive, branded tracking. So here's how I do this. You should be updating the customer every time the status of their package changes. Hey, we packed your order. Your order's been picked up. Your order is in transit. If there is ever a lag, you should email the customer anyway. So let's say the order's in transit and it's in transit for 7 days. Most brands, they're just not going to say anything, right? We told them it was in transit. They have their tracking link. They're good. That's not what you're going to do. Every 2 days, you're going to email them and say, hey, it's still in transit. Here's your tracking link again. Hey, heads up, you're basically telling them it's in the hands of the postal system now. We can't help you anymore. Every time you do that, you send them their tracking link where you are cross-selling them other products. You see what we're doing here? We're helping the customer, we're making them happy, and we're making more money. So customers who know where their order is, They don't email you. You email them. So we use Redo to send proactive tracking updates. It killed our Wizmo tickets, brought it way down. It freed up our team and makes more sales on that cross-sell on their tracking page. This is instant margin improvement. If you want to do this too, head over to getredo.com to see how proactive branded tracking updates can eliminate your Wizmo problem. People who demand to pay less money for the exact same product are not worth your time. Don't do business with them. One of the biggest problems I've seen in e-commerce as I talk to 2 or 3 dozen brands a month is that they just feel they can't sell if they're not on discount. Customers won't buy unless they offer them a deal. So here's something that you can try out instead if that is you. At Royo, we used to have a standard offer for first-time customers. We would give them $10 off when they spent $45. We decided to test that offer against a buy 3, get 1 free offer. So they get their 4th product for free. The buy 3, get 1 free outperformed on every single metric: conversion rate, revenue, but most importantly, gross profit. And more importantly, gross profit per visitor. This is why I like IntelliGems, because before I was trying to figure out if I should be optimizing for like the better conversion rate or the higher AOV. I was trying to do the math on the margins, but with IntelliGems, I just get the most important metric, which is which offer drives more profit. The free product offer for us won in a landslide. It increased our gross profit by like 10% per visitor. Why? Because my theory here is that the perceived value of a $12 free item is huge to the customer. The perceived value is actually more than the $10 we were giving them, but it costs us much less. So protect your margins, stop doing flat discounts, stop giving people the same thing for less money. Those people are not good customers. If you're not running tests like this, you should be, and you should be using IntelliGems to do it. So go to intelligems.io to start testing what actually moves the needle for your brand. All right, let's get back to it. I think that maybe a helpful thing would be like, how much training data is there for Manus to access to be able to do this? So for example, like, have you given it a bunch of context on your brand? In the past? Okay, so what's all the, because that's inputs that need to happen before somebody could execute this, right?
Yeah, so like at the top of design emails, you have this instructions section, and there's just a lot of stuff in there that I don't know if I want to share like all
that's fine. But how long did you spend giving it all of the context that it now can use to do this over and over? Would you say?
I still wouldn't say a lot. Like, it's like, make sure to pull from Dad Gang's current website, pull inspiration from the Instagram, look at the fonts, look at the colors. Here are some emails we've sent in the past. Use this language, avoid this language, keep the tone like this. When delivering the emails, like make sure they're sliced up for attentive placement. Keep the images to a certain size. All of those little things. And then after, just with any AI platform, like the more you do it, the more it understands. And it's starting to like pick up on things that I might have forgotten to tell it while building an email. Like that keeping an image under a certain size. I didn't tell it that on this project, and I've had to previously. So on this project, it already knew that whenever I build emails for Dad Gang, I need to make sure they're under a certain size so they don't load slow.
It has project level context. So I think that part of putting the instructions in there sometimes feels overwhelming to people because they are like, well, I don't really remember off the top of my head. Here's what I would say is like, just put what you remember in there and then start doing it. And then as you remember stuff, or as things come up that you're like, oh yeah, don't do that. In fact, never do that. Go put that into the project instructions when it comes up, right? So I'm a fan of like training it over time instead of trying to like give it all the context up front. It's like, as issues come up, I'll give additional context.
Yeah, it helps you understand. I don't know. I like building it while it's flying or whatever. Like it's you'll find things that it did wrong, then plug it back into instructions. And then your emails and PDPs or whatever you're building, like, will just get better over time because you are plugging that in as you build the projects. Like, oh, I didn't realize that it's been putting this color over here. Or so you can just, this is kind of like, Manus's little Bible to always follow when building emails. Yeah, cool. So, all right. I like that one. Little warm up. I think I can one up you here though. Oh boy.
You didn't know we were there was a competition. So
it's like a rap battle with AI marketing platforms.
Yeah. All right. So I have some like different applications. So this is going to be another Manus one. And let me give you kind of the precursor here. I actually just probably last week as this publishes, just did a full episode on this. And the basis here is that I think that many brands, when they get plateaued and they can't scale, like let's say their Meta ads account anymore, like they can't spend any more dollars on Facebook ads, it's because what they're doing is a lot of creative that isn't any better than each other, right? It might be quote unquote diverse, but it's not better than each other. Like what will break them through is their next banger. Does that make sense? And like, I don't know, you've worked in this for a while. I've worked in this for a while. So often, like just one banger ad fundamentally changes a business and, and thus the business owner's life. And I don't mean to be too Brunson here, but it's like that really does happen quite a lot. And a lot of times when you get stuck and you can't scale, it's because you're just not getting those breakthroughs. And the reason that the breakthroughs don't happen is because in e-commerce, we don't really optimize for breakthroughs, right? Think about what we do. We like hire a bunch of UGC creators to increase volume of UGC. We use AI to increase volume of image ads. We, hire teams. We hire specific positions like an editor or something like that will allow us to like increase volume of output. But we don't ever optimize for increasing quality of output or like doing a banger because it's hard. Because a banger requires like a human with some talent, like being creative. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So one of the ways that I've found that I really like is I will hire either like comedians or content creators and just pay them a consulting rate that to them feels high, like $200 an hour or whatever. But to me, as a brand that does whatever number, like it's relatively small to pay somebody for an hour who's creative. And I'm like, let's get them into a room either with me to brainstorm ideas or with maybe a couple of them to brainstorm ideas. So in the episode we just did last week, I actually did this with a comedian for Dad Gang. You haven't seen the episode yet, little fourth wall break for everybody. Wow. Yeah, so we actually came up with a Dad Gang skit and showed the process in real time. And what I want to show here is the way that I'm using AI to prompt the creative human. So usually it's humans prompting AI, but I think that when you want a banger, AI isn't going to come up with your banger idea. AI will give you more of that sameness, right? Now, it's not great at bangers, but AI can do a great job of prompting the human to come up with bangers. So this is how I'm doing it. I call this the banger builder, and I have a Manus. It's a Manus prompt. I have a Manus skill that does this basically. Here, let me put us here. All right, and it spits this out. So I did this for Dad Gang, and I have it spit it out. I have it tell us this information in little bits, right? So I'm me. And a comedian or a couple creative humans where you say, all right, we need to brainstorm ideas. First round, here's just like an overview of the brand. Like Manus isn't giving me any creative ideas. It's just gone and done research for me, right? Yeah. So I, as the creative human, don't have to go do that research. I can just be fed the research. So at first I just want an overview, and then I want to just, brainstorm a couple ideas based on that overview, right? And some of it gets wrong. Like I don't think you guys have bucket hats.
No.
Right. But a lot of it is right. It has a lot of it right. So basically it's like, all right. So there's this whole thing about like how, most dad stuff is like lame and cheesy. And this is for like dads who are cool. So maybe I have an idea around like, like a transformation dad, right? So like maybe it's maybe a funny idea would be like kind of like a frumpy dude without a hat on who's balding, and then like he puts a hat on, and it's actually just we actually just use a completely different dude in that second shot that's like ripped and really cool, right? And like once he has the Dad Gang hat he's he's like that guy, and then maybe his wife is like, so I would write down all that stuff that we're brainstorming. So now we have creative humans, we're using this inspo to like brainstorm ideas, right? And we're just like jotting that down. All right, so that's level one. And then after we've jotted that down, we say, all right, Manus, done with that. And I had it all spit this all out in one round. You'd go back to it and you say, all right, done with that. Give me the next bit of information. And the next bit of information it's going to give me is customer avatars, right? So here's the avatars. And by the way, what I have it pulling from is your organic social, Dad Gang's organic social, people talking about Dad Gang on organic social, people who would buy Dad Gang on Reddit, or people talking about Dad Gang on Reddit, and then all of your customer reviews that we can find everywhere. So this is all publicly available. I don't even need to know anything internally. Yeah. Internally, if you survey customers, or if you could give it access to your Facebook group, you could get even better data. But this is just me doing it for Dad Gang without having any of that, right? Yeah, so 4 distinct buyers: first-time dad, still cool dad, gift giver, and brotherhood seeker. So then here with your creative human, you do another round of brainstorming where you're like, oh, okay, so this is interesting. Like the still cool dad, is that shaking anything loose? Is that giving us any ideas? Maybe a gift giver, does that give us any ideas? Like, what if I actually think one of the ideas that came up is like, what if we did like a quick, video for, if it was like a Father's Day lead up, where we did like a short video where like kid gives his dad like a pair of socks, and the dad acts super excited about the pair of socks, and then walks out to the garage and like puts it in a toolbox that just has like hundreds of pairs of socks that he's gotten from this kid over the years. Like all he's ever getting from this kid is socks, right?
Yeah.
Like, and then we're like, give him something he'll actually wear, and it's Dad Gang, right? So ideas shake loose, right?
Yeah, he could be like in the garage, and he like walks with the Dad Gang hat into the garage, and he actually just skips the box and looks in the mirror and like puts it on.
Yeah. He actually was like gonna put it in there, and then he puts it on, and he's like, all right. Then he walks back inside, right?
Yeah,
like that. I like that. So that's what you're doing. You and I just did a little bit more. This works best with at least 2 humans, right? So they know each other. So then the next stage here is like, jot down all your ideas from your brainstorm. And then what you want to do here is you want to like choose an avatar, right? So I think that we kind of chose we chose the still cool dad, I think. But you want to choose an avatar to move forward. All right. So we're going to choose the first timer because it's only one scroll away here.
Sure.
And then you go tell Manus, all right, we're choosing the first timer. And then Manus spits you back this. All right. So this is moments and pain points. And this is just like frameworks for creating good creative, but without like giving the ideas to the creative humans. We're just giving them information. They're coming up with the ideas.
What was the, like on the project start? Like, cause I'm sure a lot of people want to know. So when you just first set out to do this, what is the initial thing you're asking Manus?
So this speaks to something else. Another mindset I have about AI is that it works best the way that like journals work best. Have you heard of the bullet journal system or anything like that? Journaling systems? All right. So some people have. Basically what happens with journals is like, I could just sell you this journal for like $4.99, right? Or I could sell you on the idea of like, here's how you journal every morning. First you write this, then you write this, then you write this, and then you write this. And this journal is specifically set up to help you do that. Mm-hmm. And now it's not $4.99, it's $29.99. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm of the mind that AI works a similar way. Like if you actually have frameworks or ways that you think are good to do things, putting that into AI, and then it's like, oh, you must first buy into working under this system. If you buy into working under this system, then here's how this AI helps you do that. So like I buy into the idea that getting multiple creative humans together and brainstorming helps. And I've already done that. So then I'm like, okay, let me work backwards from there. What do they need? They just need information, and they need information in blocks. So first they need an overview, then they need to know who the customers are, and then they need to know like what makes that customer buy, and then they need to know what kind of content that customer watches. So that's coming up later. So all I really did then is I just prompted it to say like, hey, go do research for Dad Gang across Reddit, its own website, and organic social. Gather all information you can about Dad Gang buyers and people like Dad Gang buyers. And then you're going to give me this information in this order only as I ask for it. So the prompt was something like that, right?
Yeah.
And I turned it into what's called a skill in but yeah. So I don't know. I'll fast forward here a little bit, or like I'll speed run here a little bit and just say, so then we have buying moments versus pain points. And the cool thing here is that like every avatar is going to be either a little more pain point driven or a little more moment driven. if that makes sense. So like if I buy a jacket, I might be buying a jacket because I want to look cooler, and that's sort of a pain point. I don't look cool enough. Or I might be buying a jacket because the seasons just changed and my old jacket is small. That's more of a moment, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So, first time buyer is more of a moment driven buyer, 75-25. And so then I'm going to focus over here, and this is going to shake more ideas loose, right? I'm going to jot those down, right? I'll look at pain points as well, but I know this avatar is more moment driven. So let me I want to create some content, some ads around the moment, right? Mm-hmm. And then once I'm done with that, I tell Manus, hey, I'm done with that. And then what Manus does, which I think is really cool, is I'm like, all right, now I want you to tell me what kind of content they likely see. Right. Mm-hmm. So they likely see, here's sort of the tones that they likely see. And in those tones, here are the formats on social media they likely see. So if I want to go humorous, which we wanted to go humorous for in last week's episode or whatever, if I want to go humorous, here's that avatar that you've chosen. They likely see humorous in the form of skits, green screen reactions, relatable. I think some of these, it's like overstepping. I don't know if a lot of dudes are watching like before and after humorous content. I don't even know what before and after humorous content looks like, but green screen reactions, skits,
it's like when people move and they're like, oh, 1 day of living in here, or 1 day or 1 week of live. Like that's kind of progressive.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah. POV format. Yeah. So, I mean, look, that's not in my feed, so I couldn't imagine that, but that's the point here, is that it's like, here are the formats that avatar is consuming when they're consuming humor on Instagram, right? Okay. And so then it's like, all right, so you go through all those phases, you jot down all of your ideas, and then through that process, you will have developed some of the ideas. Like that will just happen pretty naturally. But that was kind of like my idea here, was essentially like, use AI to go get you all the information and then feed you the information in the right order so that you can optimize with 1 hour, with one consulting hour from creative humans. You can have a bunch of banger ideas that could be your next breakthrough ad. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, just those little thought starters there are like, through that process of any of that information, you're like, oh, there's the video. Like that one little thing about IVF success or whatever you're seeing in there. You're like, oh wait, I can come up with so many scenarios. So like one little results can give you so many content ideas.
Yeah, and my hot tip here is comedians are great. If you don't want to do humor with your brand at all, then maybe a content creator, an educational content creator, or whatever instead.
But well, comedians also are great for that too.
Comedians are great at taking something that's not necessarily funny and finding the interesting in it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Like comedians can be good at still making not funny content ideas.
And there's a ton of non-famous comedians who are proven, and this is, I'll get into this in my next tool. Like there's a ton of non-famous comedians who have proven that they actually can build a following on, so they understand content, but they're not huge, right? Like our guest on last week's episode, I think has 100,000 followers on Instagram, but like he would take $100 an hour consulting fee to like brainstorm ideas with you, no problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's proven he understands content, but he's not like so famous that he's inaccessible. If you reach out to him, they're going to respond, type of thing.
Yeah, right.
So that's what I like about, comedians especially, is that they're good at finding the interesting in things that seem not interesting.
All right, let's talk AI tools, but with email. There's a lot of AI tools out there. Every single platform is telling you, hey, we rolled out an AI tool, which is awesome, but sometimes it can mean nothing. So one of the things I love about working with Attentive is not only do they present AI tools and let you know when they're available, but for us, they walk you through them. You get to do a trial. You get to see if it's even working before you sign up. And at the end of the day, it almost feels like there's no added cost to adding these tools. That might sound crazy, but I just added AI Pro, AI Grow, AI Audiences, AI Send Time, and all these AI enhancements to my Attentive stack. And it's been incredible. Like we use Attentive. I'm not just writing for Attentive because we use it. There's other platforms out there, but these tools are insane. AI Grow, it's enhancing your pop-up to get more signups, more emails, and more people to just join the community in a better way. So you're using AI Grow to A/B test how people are showing up on your site. How are they interacting with your pop-up and so many other things. So I know we're in a mad world of AI everything right now, but I like to just be as lean as possible with all these things. So just strip it away and look at what matters: email, ads, revenue, community, audiences, all those things, your website. Don't overcomplicate things. And so Attentive has just been great at that specifically. So if you haven't yet, get Attentive because it's awesome. Email and SMS in just one place. And then check out their AI tools. You don't have to just jump in, get a 60-day trial or whatever trial they offer you. They'll prove out that they work. And from there, have fun.
I consult across 10 e-commerce brands totaling $250 million a year in revenue. And this is the affiliate incentive strategy I would use to go from $5,000 a day to $20,000 a day without running a single paid ad. So once I'm already doing $5,000 a day, I really want to flood the algorithm. So I would make a very specific offer to all of the affiliates that I've already recruited. And this offer would be as follows. If you make 200 videos in 1 month, I will pay you $2,000. You can do any variation of this: 300 videos for $3,000, 1,000 videos for $10,000, whatever you want to do. Okay. But the goal here is to just basically offer like a really good flat fee incentive for a thing they control. They control how many videos they make. So they can make a lot of money if they just make a lot of videos, and you are going to flood the algorithm with your videos. The beauty of this is only like 95% of them are going to do it, but a bunch of them are going to make like 100 of the 200 videos. So it's going to be great for you. And you're giving them the money if they do it. All they have to do is like grind. The rules are they have to post all 200 videos on TikTok, but they only have to post 10 of them on Instagram. So they can pick their 10 favorite and post them on Instagram. So this challenge is this moment we're going to start managing TikTok and Instagram separately. We're already doing like a couple million a year now. So TikTok and Instagram are going to require separate strategies moving forward. So once I set this incentive program in place, I'm going to use Social Snowball to track the number of videos posted and where they were posted. This is going to make it very easy for me to track my challenge, know who made it, know who didn't make it, and make the payouts right there in Social Snowball. This is one of those things that wouldn't have been possible before a tool like Social Snowball existed, because you would have had just like the craziest Google sheet trying to track this. At this point, I'm also going to use Social Snowball to launch a tiered program, so bronze, silver, and gold tier. And this is going to motivate affiliates to level up. So they post all 200 videos. Now they made 20 sales. They went from bronze tier to silver tier, and they got an extra bonus for that. Now, all they got to do is make another 20 sales in their gold tier, and they get an extra bonus for that. So I'm moving my affiliates sort of like up in status, right? I'm getting them more sales from me. I'm having more interactions, and I'm turning what are mercenaries, just people who are in it for the money, into missionaries, people who love my brand. I track the tier movement like a sales pipeline. I do this all with Social Snowball. So this is part 3 of a 6-part video series on going from 0 to 50K a day with no paid ads. I'm going to launch a video every week, but if you don't want to wait, you can grab the outlines of my videos so you can get all the info right now. Just comment affiliates on this post and I'll send you those outlines. If you're not already running an affiliate program using Social Snowball, you should be. So head over to socialsnowball.io and tell them we sent you. All right, back to the show.
I think the other thing at the core is that like what AI and all these platforms are allowing people to do is that like, I think everybody and us, especially people that build companies and work in creative, like we all have a spark of a good idea about something. Mm-hmm. And what it used to be is like, oh man, I really would love to get this done for my brand. But I need XYZ skills to get there. Yep. And I need to have the ideation skill to begin with. Like I have the idea, but I don't know how to make it all the way to a production.
Too many unknowns. Yeah.
And then at the same time, it's also like, I don't have the skills of like the copy for it, the structure for it. Like, how do I build a script for this? That kind of stuff. Like that is all being done for you. So you're just removing all of those like hurdles that were in front of you for the final product. And that's like what I love about it most. Cause like I said, I don't think of myself as a designer, but now I have this tool to like get me to that point. And it prevents us from like stopping the good ideas we have, because you're just lazy if you have a good idea and you don't think you could get there at this point.
Well, or you're focused, right? Like you guys have a phrase that you kick around in your group chat, blinders, right? It's not even a phrase, it's a word, right? But blinders, and so often like little growth hacks or cool ideas or fun sounding ideas are a bit of a distraction from the fundamentals. If you throw if the resources you're using to execute on the fundamentals are redirected into a cool idea, that's like oftentimes not a very good idea for your business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that one of the best use cases for AI is like, you can implement it into your current processes, which is what you show. But I think another really incredible use case for it is like, you can at least explore, run down the unknown unknowns, and maybe even execute on a minimum version of a good idea without diverting your resources away from the fundamentals, because that's really where they should be focused, you know?
Yeah. There's also a ton of brands that rely on trend hopping, which like we don't, but there are brands that like really, like, for instance, something we did, because we don't like go too funny, but like obviously Drake album releases is talk of the town, right? And so it's like, how can I take Dad Gang with this ice and this Frozen moment and this Drake album and like play with it without obviously stealing anything, and just like be within the trend and getting those ideas back. Like for me, it was easy because I was like, I'm just going to put a hat and an ice cube. That's just self thought. But at the same time, it's like, okay, I've been seeing these reels about I don't know, like I don't know what's happening like right now, but like I've been seeing this trend of, you know, women posting about their husband doing this funny thing.
Yeah.
And here are like 10 of those reels that I've seen recently. What are some ways that I can make content around this same kind of vibe, but for my brand? And you'll get results like you just show that are like, oh, well, here's your customer breakdown. I think they'll really enjoy this, blah, blah, blah. And then you can like, at the end of that prompt, you could be like, oh, that was easy. I have like 5 walkaways from this little back and forth.
Here's a real example of that. And this wasn't even on my list, but I'll just share it really quickly. I consult with a brand where their kind of main thing is that their niche, and like they do apparel, but it's like niche humor apparel. Does that make sense? So I'm going to choose something that isn't their niche because I don't want to put them on blast. But like, let's say that they're in like the baseball niche, which they are not. It's not who you're thinking of if you're thinking baseball. So they're not in the baseball niche, but their whole, one of the main ways they make money is like when something major happens in that niche, they release a shirt around it with like hopefully a good joke, but not even always a joke, right? Like
of the moment.
Yeah. And so like it was just going off of kind of the founder's taste and how plugged in he is to that niche. But then he was able to kind of take that taste, plug it into Claude, go back and forth with Claude for like 30 minutes, and then create a Claude agent that would go around like X. X is kind of the main place that trends emerge first oftentimes. So like go around X and like gives him every single day at like, I think 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. a report of like, this could be trending up. And then he'll look across it. It'll kind of give him some links to click into. And then if he's like, oh, that's interesting, what do you think? What are some design ideas? Or mock me up a couple designs that you think could be good shirts. And it might give him a mock-up, and the mock-up might be good enough that he's like, all right, let's do that one. You know what I mean? And then then he has a process where he goes print on demand with it. And if it does well, print on demand, then he brings it in, right? But like, you know, and so it's like his release cadence in terms of how much like shirts he releases per week has gone from like 1 every other week to like 4 a week, and he's having more hits, right? So it's like increases his hit rate, right? Or
you could even have it. You could even have it feed into X somehow and be like, all right, I want you on an ongoing daily or weekly research cadence of the trend that's popping the most or people are remaking, and get on that. And make stuff like this hat just came out of Living Life, but we made a hat called Ask Mom because there's 2 versions of that. There's like, you're just trying to get to your coffee and you have 3 kids. So you get bombarded with 3 questions. You never actually, or like 3 sets of humans asking questions. And then you never actually get to your coffee. And at some point you want to just be like, oh man, ask mom, you know? But then there's the other version of that where like, I don't want to get in trouble. You better ask mom, because if you take my answers, it might be the wrong way. So like that just came out of Life, and those hats did really well for us. It's got humor, but it's not like ridiculously corny or funny. And so from that, I'm like, okay, this concept is great. It's tapping into how dads do live their life. That term probably comes up a few times a day. And then like, okay, Manus, Claude, what are some other terms that you think would sit well on a hat that work in that same vein and you think we should try? Like in a dad gang, we just like test everything when it comes to product. So
you could put a mock design into your Facebook group and see what it gets. Yeah.
Like my son got a bead stuck up his nose the other night, and it was I did some crazy move where you like plug his nose and breathe like really fast into his mouth, and it popped out the other side. And it was like bedtime, and I'm like, oh man, never a dull moment. And I was like, never a dull moment. All right, what kind of shirt can we make off of that? Like there's things you experience in life that can work for your brand, and then you can use these tools to help you like bring them to life in 5 minutes.
A lot of the time, the stuff that Manus, Claude, ChatGPT, when you ask it that question like that, a lot of the times the stuff it will kick back isn't great. It'll be like kind of corny or cheesy, but it might shake something. Again, it's like it will then prompt you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then what I find it's really good at is then, like you said, bringing the idea to, like, you might have the idea for like never a dull moment. Oh, we could put that on a shirt. And then you're like, yeah, I'll have to mock that up when I have time, right? Instead, you can just be like, you could put them in competition with each other. ChatGPT, Manus, Claude, mock me up a shirt, for dad gang for never adult, like with a never a dull moment idea. And like between the 12 that it gives you, the 3 of them give you, like probably there's something there that at least you can be like, this isn't exactly right, but this is the right, like,
or like, okay.
Or you can look at them all and be like, nah, I don't think this one's working,
Yeah. It usually gets to the point though, where like, so it either hits and you're like, okay, that works, or none of them hit. But then you can actually go to your trusted human designer and be like, this is where I'm trying to go. And I know you have the skills to finalize it. So just clean it up where it needs to and finish it there. But I mean, we're still very early stages of all of this. I think it'll get to the point where that step also gets removed and you're like, okay, you almost got it, make these tweaks. And I think you just got to keep talking to it, really.
Yeah. I have 2 more things I'd like to show, but I'm cognizant of time here. I know you got a hard stop. So like, you have another one you want to show?
Earlier, we walked through the actual email, right? And I was like, all right, email design. But before that, I built the entire PDP for the hat. So this is like a workflow I really love. So it's another project. Obviously, just PDP build is a project. Nothing is complicated around here. And then I put instructions on how to build PDPs. Personally, I'm just working with some like media buyer people. I want to not stray too far from our theme of Dawn because it is so simple and it has been for 4 years.
Right.
That I want it to be. I don't want people to hop on the website and be like, "Oh, is this not Dad Gang's website?" I don't want it to change it too much. So I give it the link to the hat that's already on Dawn, and then feed it those images that I showed you previously, and tell it, I want to make a PDP that has all this info about the hat, the boring things like sizes and variants. Here's the URL to the product. So like when I say as simple as possible, I mean it. It's the link that will be the URL to the product. So make sure that's all coded in there. And I just give instructions as it builds, as always. And the one thing that I use is gem pages, which is just it's like any of these other like PDP building, landing page building platforms. Yeah. But I use gem pages to actually host the code of the PDP. And in this case, let me see, it put like $38, which our hats are $35, because I think the product wasn't fully live yet because this is pre-launch. So it pulled its own price for some reason. I said, hey, got that wrong, change it. And through a couple other tweaks, like I want to say, can you do one section of the page highlighting this photo and the inside of the hat and how it is a custom liner inside the hat that says 4 years in the game? Like make that a main point of the page. And it keeps designing. I think there was a few other tweaks, a website ban. Oh, sorry, no, this is the final one. So this was the final PDP.
Right.
for that one hat. So hat of the year, 4 years in the game. You could choose quantities here. I'll show you. Let me show you what it actually came out with and what's live right now.
I saw that you don't have a Shopify connector set up. How do you transfer what it builds over to Shopify?
So Gem Pages is plugged into Shopify.
Yep. Okay.
I open Gem Pages and I click build new section. And from there, I go blank section. And then I select product. And Gem Pages just maps the code to the product.
Right. And then how do you pull over what Manus did?
Oh, easy. So once again, we have this. This is like what it's built.
Yep.
Nice PDP. And then that's the preview. And then there's the code. So I just copy.
You just go to Gem Pages and you say, choose HTML or choose code. And
yeah, it's just one box and you paste that entire code into it.
And then does it transfer over perfectly? Like, will it look exactly? Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. And I tell it during the prompt, like make this mobile and desktop friendly and all that stuff.
Right.
But yeah, this is the live page. You can switch between them.
Yeah.
Gives you all these things, just a little bit more info. Sometimes I like to add like a sticky add to cart while you're scrolling.
Yeah.
But it's doing more than I would ever put into a PDP. And it's doing it based off like PDPs I've built in the past that have converted well when sending emails around them. Super interactive. It connects to all of the like payment methods that I already have in there. Add it to cart. There it is. Slides out. Like there's no issues.
Lost by just plugging in the HTML from Manus.
Yeah. And then, so within that task, so I got that PDP built, but then I kind of like strayed out of how organized I am with this time, because I would normally go to a different project to build a banner. But since it already has all this memory around how it built the PDP, I said, hey, I also need a web banner, like homepage banner for this hat. And same thing, make it interact. It does its thinking. It looks like a lot, but it doesn't take much time. And then the end result is somewhere down here. And this is cut off in the preview, but it's not in real life. Okay. And it just shows me what it looked like. And I can even show you this banner and what it looks like live. So that's there. And then it's responsive to mobile also.
Right.
And that's the same thing. I go into Gem Pages, just take the code out of that banner build and have it be a theme section. And I plug that theme section into my theme editor. But still, honestly, like, I don't know, like from when it's finally built to when it's up on the site, probably like 3 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. So like, and also, input time for you, again, very low to build a whole PDP, a banner, like
an email.
Total input time for you to get your PDP banner and email written and designed, fully loaded, ready to go is 15 minutes, maybe input time from Bart, I'm guessing.
Yeah. And input time, like the time I spent correcting it.
Yes, total real time is and copying and pasting and stuff like that. Like, you could make these workflows faster with connectors, but like, it's then total time that Manus spent on all of this. Like, you could have all of these running at the same time. So like, it could be 30 minutes, right? Total, right? So it's like you're using it really well to make your workflows faster. I think I'm doing more stuff that's like additive to my workflows.
Yeah. I'm speeding things up by a lot. I'm improving design elements by a ton. Like, we're actually getting customers that are emailing back and being like, "Whoa, your emails are so cool now."
You're like, it's the robots.
Yeah, and so outside of that, it's just like, but I think speed and design are like are things we can all improve on all the time, and like.
Yeah.
To build a PDP, I used to have to like speak to a guy, and that guy would give me a quote, and then I would be like, "Oh, that's too much. Let's do this." And then it would be like so much back and forth with a guy.
And then tomorrow he'd send you the mock-up and then you'd give him the changes. And then the next day he'd send you the mock-up with the changes and you'd give him a couple more changes. And then the next day he'd send you the one that you're actually going to use. And then
and this was
2
like
days later,
3 months ago
on your site. Yeah.
Yeah. So now these platforms give marketers the power back to just do it themselves. And some of my buddies have like hit me up around like, dude, you got to teach me how to use Manus. And I'm like, ask Manus how to teach you how to use Manus, because it'll teach you way better than I can.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I'm not going to do a walkthrough. Just anything you would ask me, ask it.
One more thing. If you're running an e-commerce brand right now, doing somewhere between 1 million and 10 million, and you're stuck on something specific, whether it's your margins or your ad spend, your team structure, whatever it is, I do a limited number of consulting calls. It's just you and me going through your numbers and figuring out what to fix. There's a link in the description if you want to see if it's a fit. 49 minutes in, we've been total Manus fanboys here. And I think
take me somewhere else.
Everybody's pretty Claude pilled in marketing, but we like Manus. However, here's a little something for the Claude pilled marketers that I got. I think that Manus is an incredible design partner. Like it's very good at one-shotting designs, which is what you've showed. Yeah. It's also, I think, executes like just tasks at a higher rate. So I do have Manus like respond to emails for me a lot and stuff like that. And it one-shots that stuff, I think, at a higher rate than Claude. Like I had Manus clean my inbox and like Claude was running into all these problems and Manus is just...
I need to do that actually. You got to tell me about that one.
Ask Manus how to do it. We can, it's actually inbox clearing. If you have like a big long inbox, is weirdly harder than you think it should be.
118,000 emails in my personal.
Yeah, it's weirdly harder than you think it should be for AI because it can't distinguish like what's inbox and what's like all. It's not. Yeah, there's that's a whole rabbit hole. Well, we can avoid right now, but Manus is better at one-shotting that kind of stuff. What I have found Claude to be better at, because it is more of a coding tool, is if you want to like MVP like an app, right? Like MVP something interactive. So here, let me show you this. Now,
and I have Claude, by the way, but I just like every time I try to do something in there, it's
you're just like, why aren't you as good as Manus?
Yeah.
So this is what I'm calling. It actually named it Creator Scout. So this is an app where, like, let's say I have a couple use cases for this, but let's say I wanted to know, hey, from before, where I want to hire a comedian to come brainstorm some ad ideas with me. How do I find them? How do I find a comedian who has like 50 to 100,000 followers, right? So I just had Claude put this together, and this is just the scaffolding. So this isn't actually doing live polls from Instagram or YouTube right now, but this is just the scaffolding. This took literally one prompt, took Claude 10 minutes, and it stood this up for me. Like I would just come over here. I'm going to give you one zoom so you can see a little bit better. And I would probably put like comedy and clean comedy. And then I'd come down here and I'd say, let's say, 50K to 500K followers. And I'm going to go Instagram, right? Because I'm creating content for Instagram. And then I'm going to say, well, I want them to be I want them to be active right now. So they're posting 3+ times a week. They're getting good engagement, 3%, 4% engagement. And then let's say, minimum average views, like their reels are on average getting 50,000 views. Their last 12 reels are averaging 50,000 views, right? And so then it filters that down for you. And there you go. There's your group that you can do. And then you can stick them right into an outreach. You know what I mean? Save them all, stick them into an outreach, do an outreach. You are going to get some responses, right? So simple, that's how you do it. I put this like tool together to find creators very quickly. It's not doing live polls. If I wanted it to do live polls from Instagram, it might take me another 30 minutes and I would probably have to sign up for like one other thing, but Claude is good at that, right? So Claude is good at what you want to build something that interactive works. So can I give you 2 use cases? One of them for Dad Gang and one of them for kind of anybody.
Sure.
Okay. So here's my Dad Gang one. I think that you are big on organic Instagram, like at Dad Gang. And I think I'm very bullish on Instagram right now because everybody's bullish on TikTok. Mm-hmm. Most of us are still spending most of our ad dollars on Meta. So it's like that ecosystem of Meta, you should want people talking about you on Meta that aren't you. You should want to have really good content, all of that. So I'm bullish on Meta right now. I'm bullish on Instagram right now, Instagram organic, and Dad Gang's really good at it. So I think if Dad Gang did a thing where it's like, let's create sort of a recurring content series on Instagram that's like, tell me a story about your dad, right? Where we go up to people, could be a street interview, could be whoever, but it's tell me a story about your dad, and somebody tells us a story about their dad and we make that into a reel. And you are like, okay, we want to take that to the next level. Let's find some really good people to collab with on this thing, right?
Yeah.
So then you go, all right, we're going to go people who talk about fatherhood, family life, streetwear, menswear, maybe comedy, and that's probably it. But on top of that, I actually want to find people who look like people who already follow me, right?
Yeah. Nice.
So pages that people who follow me also follow.
And then you'll do .co on there.
That's at dadgame.co. Yeah, you're right.
You had it in there.
.co, right? And then let's say I wanted to be like, oh, not only do I want people who like pages that people who follow me follow, what if I did an and where I said at Dude Dad? I want people who follow both me and Doodad. What are the pages they follow, right? Sure. And these niches, which you could actually probably free up and not do these niches if you're already going to do that up there. But let's say you wanted all that and you still wanted, hey, Dad Gang has 300,000 followers. So we want to collab with people who are between 100,000 and 500,000. We still want 50K average views, all of that stuff. There you go. There's your outreach. And then I think that like Dad Gang could get a lot of those collabs for free. You would not have to pay these creators because your audience is also valuable to them. So they just want to collab on content together.
Sure.
You could do your series on FaceTime, right? Tell me a story about your dad, and then they tell you a story on FaceTime, and that's the reel or whatever, right? So that's one.
And even for like paid content that you'd want to use for ads, like this would be a great place to.
So at Royal, we do a ton of seeding. So we seed micro influencers. So our filter would look a little bit more like 10K to 100K followers. And then we just reach out to them and ask them if we can send them free product. And
when you're doing outreach on this one, like what, you select your people and then you send them all a DM?
Yeah, the interface that it built for me is that I would click save, and then we'd have outreach, and then
cool.
You could build some outreach flows. You could do it all individually. It depends on how you want to do it, but then you could probably even automate that, right? Like if you wanted to with Claude, you could basically have an automated agent that was running this for you all the time if you wanted to, right?
Yeah, because there's like the creator marketplace hub that Meta already has, which is great.
So I don't want to get too far down this rabbit hole without saying there are tools that kind of already do what I've built here. One of them is Social Snowball for Instagram. I think they just released a feature where you can do creator finding. So you can totally do this with other tools. I think then what you're doing is you're plugging your AI in to go do the human actions that you would be doing, right? So you're plugging your AI in to go like refresh and find new creators on those filters all the time. Put them in your outreach flows. And then once you start doing lots of outreach, the other thing you have is you have a lot of replies to manage. So then you want to create like, an agent that manages your replies probably, right?
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So the other one that I'm going to call out, other use case, if you're going to do pay for post influencer, which I know Dad Gang doesn't, but some people do pay for post influencer, I do not recommend Instagram right now. I recommend YouTube. So what you could do is you could go YouTube, you could I'm going to take these filters off now, right? And you could say, I'm looking for YouTube channels that have kind of between 50K and maybe 250K subscribers, because those are the ones that they don't always have sponsorships. You know what I mean? Like they're good prices. And then, let's say they get 50,000 views on average or whatever. So I'm finding YouTube creators that I can do into outreach, and I'm just outreaching to them and asking what their rates are for like to sponsor a video. And then this is another one that I created with Claude that it basically one-shotted this for me. I think you can do some creative deal structures with them where you say, like, let's say somebody in the niche of parenting and family, their typical CPMs are going to be like $18 to $32. So, if they're kind of getting 40,000 views a video, they're probably going to be charging somewhere in the 720 to 1280 zone, right? So let's say they're trying to charge you $1,000 to sponsor a video. You could come back to them, I just spun up this calculator really quick. You could spin up a similar calculator where you say, what if I pay you $500 base, but I pay you $16 per 1,000 views on top of the $500 base? That way, if their video tanks, you don't end up spending as much. But if their video hits more than their average views, they have an upside to make more. You know what I mean? So this helps you when you're working with any influencer on any platform. This will help with, but especially YouTubers, which I just wouldn't recommend pay for post anywhere but YouTube right now. When you're working with YouTubers and there's this chance that the video could like hit or tank because they're smaller, they're like 50,000, 100,000 subscribers. This sort of like de-risks it for you a little bit, puts some risk on them, but also gives them some upside in exchange. So like, I don't know, like this is
dude, this is sick. You just wiped out like the 2,000 influencer agencies.
Yeah, no, dude. Well, again, this is born of already having been a good marketer and having the frameworks for like, oh, here's a practical application that like a lot of people can use. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it goes. So for us, like every once in a while, I'll find somebody that like makes awesome content because they bought some hats. Like, dude, that was so good. Can we get more of that? I'll send you a few hats to make content with. And the process and this is just very lazy thinking, but the process that sucks sometimes is that like they're in and I'm like, all right, now let me get an address. All right, here's the address. Now I got to go into Shopify, place the free order, and then ship it to them. I want the connector that is like they're down. It places the order, the free order for them. Yeah. And then I don't have to worry about like making sure that I'm going in and placing because I'm working on a bunch of other things.
Where are they messaging? So one of the things I didn't have time to get to today is that I really have managing a lot of my messaging now because I'm not good at getting back to people. Yeah. So as you know,
100%.
So it's like managing a lot of my email and it's making it easier, right? So what is the platform you're usually messaging them on? Is it inside of a creator marketplace already, or is it?
Honestly, it's still old school. It'll usually be like Instagram DM.
So you would need a connector to Instagram, which I think Manus has.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't, so here's the fallback for both Manus and Claude is that they can do what's called computer use. Claude calls it computer use, where it will open a screen and act like a human and click on stuff. And you just give it your Instagram login if you feel safe doing that, or create a reference doc where I can go reference your Instagram login or put it in project instructions. Manus does it without having to open a screen on your computer. It just does computer use in the background.
Yeah.
And then it could go log in as you go through your DMs. And then anytime it finds one that's like yes, let me work together. Here's my address. Anytime it basically finds an address, it could go update. Like at Royal, we use a Google Sheet to send out all of our free influencer orders. It could just go update your Google Sheet with your free influencer orders or go place if you do a $0 order on Shopify, use the Shopify connector to place the $0 order or use computer use to place the $0 order. That way you're just like getting the orders out without a human have to be involved there. So anytime you see an address, when we ask somebody if they want product, just go do this process. It's great at that kind of stuff because the process is the same every time and there's no judgment. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it would just need to be like really tight because, we'll get an address sometimes if somebody wants to exchange a hat or whatever. Like there's other use cases for address giving. So we just need to really filter down what that is.
So I think one of the best things you can do here is like, while you don't want messaging to be templated, you can put little template seeds into your message where you basically say, like, let's say every outreach message, you say, okay, in every outreach message, I'm going to include the phrase, we'd love to send you some free product, right? I'm going to include that in every outreach message, even if it's not templated. We always want that phrase. So then you could tell it, go through the past messages and look for that phrase. If that phrase is there and you see that they've given us an address, then send them product. But also, it's pretty good at just reading the message and like getting the content, reading the series and getting the context. It's good at that.
Yeah.
Manus is.
No, that's great. This inspires me to play with more creator-esque stuff.
Yeah. No, and you're doing a ton of design, cutting down your workflow, where I've been doing more like, how could I use it to execute on tactics that I like, that I oftentimes don't have the bandwidth to execute on. So
Yeah.
I'm going to just say something that anybody who's this deep into the episode, this might be very helpful for you. If you're looking at this and you're like, okay, but you had it in your brain to create that prompt. First of all, we did try and show you the prompts. Secondly, like literally just like take this YouTube video, stick it into Manus or Claude, and like say, hey, the thing they talked about at this point, I want to do that. Can you create me a prompt or like tell me how to do that?
Yeah.
And then it probably will. Like, so I don't know. That's all. Any other parting shots here? I feel like this was fun. We should do more episodes. This is very casual. We've been like, we've been real.
I feel
with the podcast lately, like in studios and chatting. And this
I like the tactical stuff.
More fun, I think. Yeah.
No, for sure. I like if I have no idea how to use this stuff, which I didn't not too long ago, it's like just a word vomit of information on how to use it is great. But at the end of the day, it's like get Manus or Claude, and then when you get stuck, ask it how to get unstuck, and you'll learn. Like I was telling a buddy earlier today, he was like making some images, and I'm like, keep going, like try again tomorrow and keep talking to it, because as with all things, the more you do it, the better you'll get. So what's frustrating sometimes is you ask it, you need something done. It's on a deadline. And Manus to do it, or you ask LLM to help you with it, or a model to help you with it. And it's not and it ends up taking longer than it would have just taken you to do it. And you have a list, you have stuff that you have to do every day. And that is real. So if that's kind of one of the things that keeps frustrating you, just think about how could I take smaller bites? You know what I mean? Instead of doing the whole PDP, maybe I just ask it to do like, my PDP images or something. Yeah.
Like that. Ask it if it can't get the whole email, like maybe I just ask it to do like my email headline and design, header design image or something like that. You know what I mean? Like instead of just take a smaller bite, if that keeps happening to you, where it's like it ends up taking longer because it's not getting it right. Try smaller bites is all, because it'll work better as you train it more to your brain. Yeah. Anyway, cool, man. This was fun. Please subscribe. If you guys like videos like this, here's how I know to do more of the content is subscribers. So the videos that get more subscribers, we say, hey, that's people like that. They stayed till the end and they listened to me tell them this whole spiel about how we look at subscribers. So we should do more of that content. That's how they signal it to us. So subscribe to the podcast. If you want more of this like tactical, here's how we're using stuff content, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.